Hi everyone, am I audible? Hello everyone, I think I'm audible to all of you, right? Guys, please ping me yes or no inside a chat. Yeah, Ganesh is saying good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Ganesh. Ganesh, Sitaram, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Excuse me. Okay, so fine, guys. I think I'm audible to all of you. So let's start with the class. And today I'm going to talk about a ADF. So I believe in my previous class we were able to launch an instance for an ADF. So again, we are going to launch it, and we'll try to see a small process in today's class, and then in our subsequent classes. So I'm going to show you more example. So today I'm going to talk about Azure Data Lake Gen 2, plus I'm going to capture the ADF part, so Azure Data Factory part, and then I'm going to capture a SQL part as well. So Azure SQL part, so how we can try to like configure all these things. So we are going to talk about that. So let me share my screen, and let's start talking about it. So first of all, you have to log into your Azure portal. So please try to log inside your Azure portal, guys, all of you, right? And here, so we are going to talk about a couple of things. Let's start talking about it. So Tutu is saying good afternoon, Tutu. Yep. Okay, shall we start, guys? Say yes, and we are going to start. Everyone, people are not pinging, so people are available inside the chat, but still they are not pinging. Please ping in the chat so that we can start, guys. So, guys, in my today's class, basically what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to keep a data inside a Azure Data Lake, basically. And then what I'm going to do is, so there will be a SQL databases, which I'm going to commence inside an Azure. And after commencing a SQL database inside an Azure, so we'll try to build a process inside Azure Data Factory, so that whenever there will be a data inside a data lake, automatically it is going to read a data from a data lake, and then it is going to send a data, or it is going to store a data inside a SQL server. But yeah, in between, so there will be a Azure Data Factory which will come into a picture. So if I'll talk about an overall approach, so this is the approach that we are going to follow. So the very first part is going to be a data lake. Now, in between, there will be something called as Azure Data Factory. So where we are going to like configure each and everything, and we are going to send our data into a SQL server. Now, the process that we are going to build inside Azure Data Factory, so this process we are going to schedule it in such a way that it will keep on watching, or maybe like on an hourly basis, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, or on a monthly basis. So it will keep on watching this entire data lake, and as and when data will arrive inside a Azure Data Lake, it is going to send those data inside a SQL system. So we are technically going to schedule it. In my previous classes, I was talking about the Azure Databricks, and inside that, so we have seen a workflow kind of a situation. So where we can try to schedule a particular job. In the similar manner, so today we are going to perform a similar kind of operation inside a Azure Data Factory. And I have also given you the glimpse of Azure Data Factory. So what it does, so basically it is going to help you out in terms of creating the entire end-to-end pipeline. So whether it's a simple one or it's a complex one. So today we are going to see a simple process over here, but yes, you will be able to configure any kind of a ETL process inside a ADF in Azure Data Factory just with the help of drag and drop. just by connecting things over here, and then you will be able to build a end-to-end automated data pipeline, and it will keep on running unless and until you are not going to stop. So it will keep on running infinitely, and it will keep on monitoring, keep on watching things. So this is the basically agenda for my today's class. Sir, can we say ADF is like the ETL tool? Actually, ADF is a ETL tool, right? So it's not like it's like the ADF tool, ETL tool. So, but actually, it's a ETL tool that we are going to discuss. To do that, guys. So first of all, what we have to do is that we have to create a Azure Data Factory, Azure Data. First of all, like a data lake or data storage we can try to create. So data storage we can try to create. So here you will be able to see a storage account. So first of all, click on this storage account so that I will be able to create a Azure Data Lake Gen 2 over there. I will be able to configure. So click over here, guys, storage account, and then everything is blank. So I'm going to create everything from the scratch in this class itself. So create a storage account. So click over here, and once it will be done, and even in my last class I was able to create a data lake account. Similar thing we are going to perform even over here. So there is no resource group. What I can do is I can try to click on create, and then I can try to create a resource group. So you run ADF resource group. So this is a resource group which I am going to create. So you run ADF resource group. It could be anything. So you can give a name as per your convenience. So you can try to create a new resource group over here. A storage account name. So here I can try to create maybe Azure storage data lake Gen 2. So this is a storage account name which I have given. A region could be anything. So you can try to select a region as per your convenience. Primary services. So maybe you can try to leave it as it is. We can try to click on a standard as it is. And then we can try to click on next. Nothing is supposed to be changed over here. Then next, nothing is supposed to be changed over here. Enable public access from all the network. It should be as it is. So no need to change anything. Then next, again, no need to change anything over here. And then next, it will be as it is. Now go to the basic, and yeah, so maybe we can try to select inside a basic locally rendered storage. That will be much better, I would say. So here everything is done, and advanced part again. So enable hierarchical namespace. This is what you are supposed to select, as I think I already talked about it in my previous class as well. So enable hierarchical namespace so that you will be able to create a Azure Data Lake Gen 2, where I can create a folder which is called as container. I will be able to store a data over there, and eventually I will be able to access those data. I believe with respect to our Databricks, we were able to do the exact same thing, right? Okay, so review and create, and in some time it is going to create it, and we'll be good to go with respect to the Azure Data Lake. So create, and it is going to create it. So same thing, guys, nothing different we are going to do. So already we have created a Azure Data Lake in my previous classes, and same thing I'm going to repeat even over here. So this is the very first service that we have to create. Now, the second service is basically a SQL account, right? So SQL server we have to create over here. So here, just leave it as it is and try to open up your Azure portal in a next tab. And then let's start creating a SQL over here. So here, SQL wise, you can try to search for a SQL database. So here, if I'm going to click on SQL database, it will ask me to create a SQL server as well. So let's try to click on this SQL database first of all. And there is nothing as of now in terms of a SQL database. So here I can try to click on create a SQL database, step number 1. So once I'm going to click on create a SQL database. Now, this is just like a random one. It's fine. Leave it as it is. And it is showing me some sort of an error. So create a SQL database with your preferred configuration. Complete the basic tab to go to review to create a provision the smart default. So here, subscription pay as you go. You can even choose for the free. Resource group wise, I'm going to select the same resource group which I have already created. Database name wise, right? Database name wise, what I can do is, so maybe I can try to create a test database over here. Now server. So like I said, so whenever you are going to create a SQL databases, it is going to ask for the server, because whatever database you are going to create, it should be available inside the server. So where SQL services should be up and running. So here you have to click on create new. This is one of the approach. Other approach is you can simply search from here to create a SQL server first, and then you can try to create a SQL database. Both is fine. So here what I will do is I'll try to click on create new, and it is going to send me to create a SQL database server first. Simple SQL database server first. Server means a services, so where we are supposed to install each and everything. So here server name wise, maybe I can try to say that you run SQL server, right? So you run SQL server. Now location wise, it could be anything. Now here authentication method wise, you can try to choose a SQL authentication, that will be better, so that you can try to set your user ID and password. So this is the place where you have to focus more while creating a SQL database server. And now here, so server admin login, so maybe I can try to give admin login wise admin admin as a user ID. Password wise, I can try to or maybe admin euron I can try to give over here, and you have to save this part. Password wise, you can try to give a password, so maybe euron 123 123 at the rate. So euron 123 at the rate, euron 123 at the rate. So whatever password that you would like to give, you can try to give a password. But yeah, just make sure that you are going to save this admin login and you are going to save your password, because in a later stage we are going to need it. So maybe I can try to open up a notepad, and then inside a notepad I'll try to save. So basically admin euron is my user ID, and then euron123 at the rate is my password. So this is something which I'm going to save it. Simple. So admin euron, and then password is going to be this one. So I have already saved. So admin euron, and then password is this one. So this is going to commence my SQL server. I can click on OK, and then over here, rest of the things doesn't even matter, I would say. So rest of the things, locally redundant, review and create, and then over here just click and create. So in this way your SQL server will be initialized and your database will be initialized. So these are the two things that we need. So here this is going to take maybe 5 minutes of time for us. So it is not going to be immediate, and I can go back and I can try to check that whether my Lake account is ready or not. So yeah, it seems that it's ready. So I can try to click on go to resources, and then from here, so I can try to create a files. I can try to create the containers. This is something that we have done already in my previous classes. Yep. And even we were able to access a data from a data lake to a Databricks with the help of Spark. So like I said, it is going to take some time for all of us, right? So deployment is in progress. It is going to create my database, as well as it is going to create my SQL server. Server first, and then database in a second place. Now, so coming to the next part. So the third services that we have to create over here is called as ADF, Azure Data Factory. So these are the services that we have to keep it up and running. So SQL is one part, Data Lake is one part, Data Lake Gen 2, and then ADF service we have to commence over here. So how we will be able to do is, so maybe I can try to open up a new tab over here, and inside a new tab, so I can try to call for Data Factory. So maybe I can try to search for a Data Factory over here. So Data Factories, and click over here, and there is nothing as of now. Once I'm going to select a Data Factories, so I can try to click on create a Data Factory for me. So let's click. So here Data Factory wise, pay as you go, that's fine. Then create a resource group. I can try to create a Data Factory name over here. So I can try to say that Euron Data Factory. I can try to select a region as per my convenience. Version is V2 by default, and then I can try to click on review and create, so that it will be able to create a Azure Data Factory for me. So just create. So my Data Factory, all of these three resources which I was talking about, a Data Lake, Azure Data Factory, and SQL. So all these three resources are available inside the Azure in some time. It will be available maybe in like next 2-3 minutes of time, it will be available, all the three resources. So yeah, my data factory is available. You run resource group. So my data factory is available. My SQL server is available and my lake is available. Even I can come to home and I will be able to see all of these services. So resource group, data lake, Gen 2, 12 minutes ago. And I think it is trying to create the next one. So it is taking some time. Maybe I can try to refresh. So storage account is ready. ADF and SQL server, still it's trying to create. Yeah, deployment is in progress. So just wait for some time, guys. And let me know inside the chat. So once you are able to create all these three resources, one is a data lake Gen 2, the other one is a data factory, and then the third one is a SQL. So, sir, can we say that ADF, data storage, Databricks, all their resources and all should be inside one resource group? Ideally, it should be inside one single resource group. Yes. So just let me know, guys. Once you are able to create all these three resources. Yeah. So Gyan Jyoti is saying already done. Yeah. Even in my last class, so we have already created Azure Data Lake and we have already created a data factory. So SQL was the only thing I think we have not created in my previous class. So this is the new instance or this is the new service that we are trying to spin. So mine is under deployment. So just wait for some time. Like I said, so SQL Server takes a lot of time, 5-6 minutes of time in general, it will take. So what about others, guys? Gyanjyoti is able to do it. What about others? So still deployment is in progress. This is the only time taking process. So whenever you spin some sort of a resources, right, it takes some time. Sitaram is saying done. Masood is saying data factory is taking time. Yeah, 5 minute max to max, not more than 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes, and all the resources will be up and running. Okay, so once my Azure Data Factory is storage account is ready, right? So this data lake is ready. So let's suppose my SQL is not ready yet, and my data factory is not ready yet. So what I can do is maybe at least I can go inside the storage account. I can go inside the container, and then I can try to maybe create a folder, and inside that I will try to keep a file. So click on container, and let's suppose we are going to create a container called as test over here. I can click on create. So test folder it has created, and then inside a test folder maybe I can try to upload one of the files. So here I'm going to upload one file called as customer order. I'm going to share the same file with all of you so that all of you will be able to upload that file. So here is a customer order file, guys, which I have already ingested. So if I'm going to click on preview, so this is the data which I'm trying to keep inside my customer order file. So let me ping you the same data inside your chat box as well. So data is available inside your chat now. You all can download it and you can try to store it. Otherwise, you can try to store some other data as well. There is no issue at all. So this is a data. So where we have a order ID column, customer ID column, product name, quantity, price, and a order date. So this is a data which I'm trying to keep inside my Azure Data Lake, right? Inside a particular folder called as test, I'm trying to keep all of these particular data. Now, So what we have to do, so we have to build a process by which it will be able to transfer a data into a SQL system automatically. And then maybe in between, so it will be able to do some sort of a transformation operation or any other operation it will be able to perform. So here, we can try to do this things with the help of ADF, Azure Data Factory. So yeah, file is available over here. Let me check whether my resource group storage account, yeah. So SQL database is fine. So there is a server I can see inside it. And yeah, so looks like my SQL server is ready, right? So deployment successful. And here, so once you will come inside your SQL server, you will be able to find out something called as query editor. So now let's go and test whether we are able to log in inside my SQL query editor or not with the help of the password which I have given. So here admin Euron is a login, and then password I can try to give over here. So EURON123 at the rate. So this was the password that I had given, right? This is the password. And it's telling me that the instance specific error occurred while establishing a connection to the SQL server. And this is an error which it is giving me as of now. Now this error says that network access is set to yes. For this one, to connect to this server, use the private endpoint from inside your virtual network. This. So it is giving me an error, and it is not allowing me to connect with my SQL system because uh, so it is not public, or I will not be able to hit this particular SQL server from my system. And because of that, so it is giving me this particular issue. What I can do is, so there is something called as, I can try to go inside my SQL server. So I can leave it this one as of now. And then I can try to maybe get inside my SQL server first. So the server that I have already created. So server that I have already created. So I can get inside my SQL server. And as you can see, this is the server which I had created. So where my database is basically sitting as of now. So I can go to a networking tab as of now, right? I can go to a networking tab. And then by default, you can say that this particular part is disabled. And because of this, I'm not able to access my database. I'm not able to log in into my SQL system. So public access network, it's basically disabled. I can try to click on select a network, right? I can try to click on select a network. And here it is telling me that connection from my IP address configured in a firewall rules section below, we have the access to this database by default. No public addresses are allowed. So here it is telling me that there is a firewall rule for this particular IP address, right? So I can try to click on this add, and it is going to add automatically. So this client IP address, so that I will be able to hit it from my system. And here, so I'm going to click on save, right? So here, and there is an exception, allow Azure service and resources to access this server. So I can try to allow this particular part, and then I can try to click on save over here. So once I'm going to click on save, everything I will be able to access, and I will be able to access inside my SQL query editor. So this is a changes, guys, you have to do inside your server, not inside your database. Your database is different, your server is different, right? So you have to come inside your server, and then you have to come inside the security tab. Inside a security tab, there is a networking. So public access, you have, by default, it will be disabled. So you can try to select the network and then try to add it. So it is trying to add, and yeah, successfully it has updated my server firewall rule, each and everything. I can go to my home, and this is my server, right? There is, so whenever I have created a database, so it has created SQL server and Azure SQL database hyperscale. So now I can try to go inside the database, and then I can try to test it, that whether I'm able to log in or not. So here I can again come over here inside a query editor, and then I can try to log in. So euron123 at the rate. So this was the password which I have given, and this time it should not give me the issue. Yes. So this time it has not given me any kind of a issue, and I'm able to get inside my query editor. So are you able to do it, guys? Are you able to get inside your query editor? Yes, everyone. Are you able to get inside the query editor? So Abigail saying yes, he is able to get into a query editor. That's great. So fine. Once we are able to get into a query editor, so maybe we can try to create a table which will be able to hold this particular data. Now, as you can see that this data set is having a order ID column, customer ID column, product name, quantity, price, and order date. So here I have to create a table so which will be able to hold all of this data inside my SQL. As of now, this file is available into a CSV format, and this file is available inside my data lake. I have to transfer, I have to build a process so which will be able to transfer this entire data. So whenever data will be available inside the file, so automatically it is supposed to transfer all of these data from my data lake to the SQL server. So my SQL database is up and running. So what I can do is there is no table as of now. As you can see, it's completely blank. So I can create a table over here. So to create a table, so here is a statement. So create table orders. So order table I'm going to create. Order ID is going to be a primary key. Customer ID, product name, quantity, price, and order date. It's same as this schema, right? So it's same as completely same as this particular schema. And I can try to create a table over here. So I can click on run. And if everything fine, so cannot find a stored procedure. Yeah. So query succeeded, affected 0 row. So now I'm able to create a table over here. So if you are going to check, and again, I have pinged you this command basically to create a table. So here now if you'll come inside the table, so there is a table which has been created. And here, so we have a order ID, customer ID, right? Order ID, customer ID, product name, quantity, price, and order date. All of these things are basically created in this particular place inside a table. So DBO order, so order is already created over here. Now there is no data. If I'm going to fire a command called a select star from dbo.orders, it will not be able to give you any kind of a record as of now. So for example, if I'm going to fire over here a query, so select star from dbo.orders, it will not be able to fetch any kind of a record. So query succeeded, this one, and result wise, there is nothing that I'm able to get over here. So there is no result because there is no data which I have stored so far. There is a possibility that I can go ahead and I can try to store a data from here itself, but no, this is not this is not something which I want. What I want is, so I want to automate this entire process with the help of my Azure Data Factory, so that data should transfer or data should come from here to here automatically, right? So whenever someone is going to upload a file, so I can automate even this particular process. So maybe from a Databricks, right? So we can write a Spark query, or we can try to write the complete Spark process. So a Spark is, let's suppose, taking a data from a Kafka. So someone is trying to publish a data, publish a record inside in this particular format. So order ID, customer ID, product name, quantity, price, and order date. So as soon as there will be an order, so someone, or with the help of some Spark process, or maybe with the help of some Python programming, or with the help of maybe some UI interface, the same thing that we have done in my past. So someone is publishing a data to my Kafka, for example, right? So someone is publishing a data to the Kafka. So here I can try to attach a couple of more element over here, that there is a UI interface. There is a UI interface. Someone is doing a purchase. Now, immediately, if someone is going to do a purchase, they are going to publish a data into a Kafka, right? Maybe they're not just publishing these data, they're publishing some other data, other records as well. But I'm just interested into these records or these columns or this schema. I'm not interested into anything else. So from a Kafka, with the help of Spark inside a Databricks, right? Databricks. So we already know that how we can try to spin the Azure Databricks. And we also know that how we can try to set the workflow over there, how we can try to automate that particular part. So from a Kafka inside a Databricks, I will keep on reading the data, right? In a streaming way, I will keep on reading a data. and I will try to process a data over here. Like I said, so there is a possibility that from a UI side, I'm getting maybe 10 columns or maybe some different kind of inputs I'm getting from a UI side. But I'm not interested into all of those 10 columns. I'm interested to just order ID, customer ID, product name, quantity, price, or order date, right? Or maybe the data which is getting published inside a Kafka is having some different column name. Now I would like to structure it. So I can write a Databricks process over here, so which will keep on reading a data. I can try to even schedule it with the help of Databricks workflow. We have already seen that, right? We will be able to schedule it. So it will pull all the data. Now, this Databricks is going to create a final file and it is dumping all the data into a data lake, right? In a terms of files, it will keep on dumping a data into a data lake. Now, from a data lake, my Azure Data Factory is trying to pull the data, and then finally it is trying to store a data into what? It is trying to store a data into a SQL. So here you will be able to experience a complete ETL over here. So we are trying to multiple layer of ETL, multiple label of transformation. As of now, we are going to do a transformation over here, and then we are loading a data. Then again, we are loading a data into a SQL system. And then from a SQL system, maybe I can try to connect my Power BI, Tableau, ClickView, Insight, or whatever, right? I can try to connect any kind of a dashboard. And then inside a dashboard, I will be able to showcase all the matrices. So this is a complete flow, I would say. We are already aware about this side of the flow. So if I'll talk about maybe this side of the flow, so we have already done this kind of a things multiple times, not just one time, even while doing a project. So now let's suppose my data is available inside my data lake. I have to bring this data over here, and then finally I will be able to connect with the Power BI. Again, connected with the Power BI. So we have already seen how we can connect a Power BI with the Snowflake, right? How we can connect a Power BI with respect to a MongoDB. Similarly, so we just need a SQL URL or server URL and then user ID and password. I will be able to pull all the data inside the Power BI, and I will be able to showcase the complete analytics. Is this process making sense to all of us? Yeah. So let's suppose this process is a step 1 number of process. This is basically a second step 2 process that I'm talking about. And then finally publish a dashboard. Yeah. So this entire process making sense to all of us, guys? So what we are talking about, so I believe process number 1 we have already done. We even know that how to schedule it, how to create a workflow, and as per my own convenience, how I will be able to schedule it. So if we are able to create this, in that case, I can say that yes, I am able to build the end-to-end pipeline over here. Okay. So now we are working into a process number 2. Process number 1 we have seen multiple times, not just 1 or 2 times, but multiple times we have already seen that part. Okay, so let's work on the process number 2, and then eventually you can connect, because last class I was able to connect my Databricks with my data lake. So I was able to pull the data. Similarly, I will be able to save the data, right? So I was able to read a data. So I will be able to even write a data to the data lake. So this is what I have done in my last Databricks classes, and even I have created a workflow. So where I was able to schedule from a Databricks workflow itself, Azure Databricks workflow itself. So fine. Now here, so I have created a SQL, right? I have created a SQL table in this particular place. Now what we are supposed to do next? Yeah. So what we are supposed to do the next? So maybe we can go inside the Azure Data Factory, and then over there we can try to create a process number 2, right? We can try to connect my data lake with the SQL. So how we can connect it? Let's try to understand. So here, let me refresh it so that I will be able to see my Azure Data Factory. So here we have a SQL storage account resource group. What happened to my Azure Data Factory, by the way? Is there any problem? So SQL Server resource group storage account, this one I am able to get. Data Factory, Azure Data Factory. Okay, fine. So I'm able to get my Azure Data Factory over here. Now what I can do is I can try to click over here and I can try to launch the studio. So once I'm going to click and launch the studio, it is going to give me the interface for the Azure Data Factory, where I have to call both the parties. So inside Azure Data Factory, you will be able to see Home tab, you will be able to see Author tab, Monitor tab, Manage tab, and Learning Center. Learning Center is just for the learning, so you don't have to worry about it. Majorly, we'll be dealing with Author, Monitor, and a Manage. So we'll be dealing with these 3 things basically. Yeah. So we will be dealing with the monitor. So after creating a complete pipeline, so we can monitor over here that whether my pipeline is failing, so at what time it is going to trigger each and everything, just like a Databricks workflow, I will be able to monitor over here inside a manage tab. So I'm going to talk about a linkage. So we are going to create a different kind of a linkages over here. And then inside a author tab, so we are going to create a pipeline. As you can see, there is a pipeline tab, plus we are going to talk about even a data set. So here, as of now, learning center, it's nothing, right? Home, again, it's nothing. So just a simple home web page is given to you. So we will be dealing majorly while building a pipeline. So majorly we'll be dealing with two things over here, guys. So one is basically a manage one, and another one is a author one. So we'll be dealing with these two while building it. After building, once we are going to productionize it, so we will be dealing with the monitor one, so that I can come, I can try to monitor it. I can even set a triggers, I can set alarms over there, so that it will be able to send me a mail notification, maybe a WhatsApp message, maybe message over the Slack, or n number of other system I will be able to connect in terms of alarm or in terms of creating a alert. But that's completely fine. So first of all, guys, go inside the manage tab. Now inside a manage tab, it has given you a multiple connections. So we have to create a connection between this Azure Data Factory, right? So when I'm talking about a connection, so we have to establish a connection between Azure Data Factory and a data lake, one part. Second part is Azure Data Factory and basically a SQL system. So if you will come inside this design part, so here what we are supposed to do is, so we are supposed to link these two, right? We are supposed to link these two. Let me use some different pen color. So we are supposed to link these two, right? And we are supposed to link these two. So Azure Data Factory, we have to create a linkage with a data lake, and then Azure Data Factory, we have to create a linkage with the SQL system. So these are the two linkage we have to create. So let's go ahead and let's try to create it. And that can be done from the manage tab. So here inside the manage tab, there is something called as linkage services, which is given to you. So here there is nothing. As of now, it's completely blank. I can try to click on new, and then here it is giving you a multiple option. So you can create a linkage with even an external system. Let's suppose I would like to create a linkage with a Snowflake, right? I would like to connect with a Snowflake, maybe ServiceNow, maybe Salesforce Cloud, maybe a SQL Server, maybe SAP HANA, SAP Table, SAP ECC, right? With anything external or internal, even with the PayPal, which is a payment gateway, or even with the Oracle system. So with anything and everything, they have already given you a connector so that you all will be able to connect. So even though some systems are not a part of, or most of the systems are not a part of Azure family, right? Azure ecosystem, but still you all will be able to do that by creating a linkage. As you can see, they have given you a hell lot of a linkage over here. Almost everything they have given to you, everything, right? Everything they have given to you. So you will be able to connect with any kind of a system. I'm not just talking about a connection of the system, which is a part of Azure. So maybe I can try to connect with the MongoDB. So I can try to search for Mongo over here, right? So MongoDB Atlas. Yeah, MongoDB Atlas. Maybe I would like to connect with the Snowflake. Snowflake we have already discussed. So I will be able to connect with the Snowflakes. Like I said, with anything. So as of now, I have to establish a connection between a data lake and Azure Data Factory. So first linkage I have to create over here. So let's go ahead and create it. So here I'll try to search for a data lake. So here you will be able to find out something called as Azure Data Lake Gen 2. Yeah, Azure Data Lake Gen 2. So click over here and then click on continue. I think my screen is visible, right? My picture, my photo is not disturbing. Otherwise, I can keep myself on other side of it. Yep. Yeah. So just come over here, guys, and then try to click on Azure Data Lake Gen 2 and then click on continue. Now here, so you can try to give a name, Azure Data Lake Storage, and maybe Gen 2 link. Yeah, so this is the name I have given. So you can try to give your own name, whatever name that you understand. That's completely fine. Authentication type wise, if you are going to like check, so maybe I can try to use account key. I can try to use SaaS URI. So basically, Azure Data Factory is a different service. Now it has to connect with the other services which is available. So here, and obviously authentication will be different. So different level of authentication. So maybe user assigned a manual identity. I can try to select over here, user assigned manage identity, and then select all. So pay as you go, and then storage account name. So what was my storage account name? So Azure Storage Data Lake Gen 2. And then here, so it is asking me for the credential. So this is something that you will be able to find out if you are selecting authentication type as a managed identity. Let's suppose if I'm talking about account key, right? So here subscription, again I can select account name, this one, and then automatically it will be able to create a linkage. So you can try to go ahead with even a SAS URI. SAS URI you will be able to get it from a here itself. So you can try to get into a security, and then you can try to get into, this is basically Azure Data Factory. You run home, then Data Lake, Gen 2, and then access key, right? Access key wise, you can try to connect. You can try to even connect with the SAS, so shared access signature. So there are multiple ways to connect, but yeah, so I'll try to use account authentication over here, account key. And I can try to click on test connection. So if it is able to establish a connection with your Azure Data Storage Data Lake Gen 2, then in that case, it is going to give you connection successful. So, okay, fine, create it. So I'm going to authenticate, and this link is already created. Now this is just a linkage I'm trying to create. So one linkage is created, one linkage is done over here. Now we have to work on the second linkage. So Azure Data Factory with a SQL we have to connect. Okay, fine, let's do it. I can click again over here, new, and this time I can select for a SQL. Yeah. So Azure SQL database is a option that you will be able to get. So click over here, Azure SQL database, click on continue, and then again you have to select all the parameter. So subscription type, pay as you go, server name. So here it is going to show you the server name. So this is the same server which I have created, if you remember, right? So your own SQL server I have created. So now it is able to browse. If you have a multiple server, it will be able to give you all the option. Now database name. So database name is basically a test database name which I have given. So fine. Authentication type. So I can try to select a SQL authentication. Again, system assigned managed. So I will try to select for the SQL authentication, and I can try to give a name over here. Now what was the name? So name was basically admin iNeuron. So this is the, admin neuron is the name which I have given. So admin neuron. Password I can try to give. So EURON, euron123 @. So this was the password that I have given. Now, rest of the things should be as it is, and you can try to click on test connection. So if connection is successful, so it is going to tell you connection is successful. Simple, right? Simple. So here SQL authentication, and then I can try to click on create so that it will be able to create a linkage. Simple, right? So SQL database linkage I am able to create. And then I'm able to create a linkage for a data lake. And in every project, so whenever you are trying to connect ADF with any other sources, you have to create a linkage. That's the reason. So they have given you a multiple connectors over there. So this two part is now done. This linkage is done. So now my Azure Data Factory is connected to a data lake. Now my Azure Data Factory is even connected to a SQL system. Once this part is done guys, everyone, are we able to create a linkage inside a manage? Yes, everyone. Are we able to connect SQL and a data lake linkage? Sir, can you please show once again for a data lake? Okay, so see, click on new, search for a data lake, right? So you will be able to find your Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Select this one, click on continue. Just follow the step. Search for a data. So Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. This is what we are working on, right? So select this one. Now click on continue. Now here, if you will come, just leave it as it is, account key. Subscription. So if it is free, select free. If it is pay as you go, so automatically it will show you in drop down, right? Storage account name. So whatever storage account name for the data storage you have given, so it will give you a pop-up. Otherwise you can try to even refresh, and then try to test the connection. Yeah, try to test the connection. So you can try to create maybe a number of linkage. That's completely fine. Fine, everyone. Okay. So I'm canceling this part. Okay. So these two linkage I'm able to create. Okay. That's fine. Done. So now my ADF is connected. My Azure Data Factory is connected with these two. Now this is going to help me out to perform any kind of operation inside a Azure Data Factory. So what I will do is, so I can try to come inside the author tab. So come inside the author tab, manage tab is done. So we are able to create a linkage over here. That was the whole purpose of a manage tab, to create a linkage, and majority of time you will be using this manage tab to create a linkage with any other sources, maybe internal, maybe external, that depends on the project. Now here we have an author tab, right? Inside the author tab, you will be able to see an option called as pipeline, change data capture, data set, data flow, and power query, right? So here, first of all, you have to come inside a data set. There is nothing as of now. Click and then create a new data set. The reason is that now we are able to establish a linkage between ADF and my data lake and my SQL system. We are able to establish the linkage in between. Now what I have to do is, so I have to create a data set which is coming from here to here and going here in this particular place. So that will be done inside a data set. So I can try to click on new data set, right? And then I can try to select that which data set I would like to point. So same thing, right? First of all, data lake. So Azure Data Lake Gen 2 storage. Then I can click on continue. So come inside the author tab, then inside the dataset tab, and then click on continue. Now, once you are going to click on continue, it is going to give you the option that, okay, inside your Azure Data Lake, in which format you are storing a data. So in which format we are storing a data, guys? Inside my data lake. So in which format we are storing a data? Inside my container, right? Inside my test. So in which format I am storing a data? Can I say that I am storing a data into a .csv format? This data set is available into a .csv format. Yep. This data set is available into the .csv format for me. So, okay, if it is available in a .csv format, as we can see over here, so what we can do is we can try to select basically delimited text. This is basically a CSV. So delimited text, select it, then click on continue, right? And then link service. So linkage service we have already created, right? Which will help me out. So this is the reason. So we have already created a linkage service. So linkage service we have already created, and we are going to use it over here. So this name you can keep it as it is, or maybe you can try to change it as per your understanding. Very simple. So obviously, whenever we try to build a production grade project, so we always try to give a naming convention so that someone else who is going to work tomorrow in the same project, they will be able to understand. So here linkage service means ADF. So Azure Data Lake storage link we have already created previously inside the manage tab. So click on linkage services. Now linkage services will give you the access, because this is why we have created the linkage services, so that I will be able to access with the help of that connector, like just like driver we used to install, right? So this is the same thing your linkage service is going to do. Now file path, directory, and file name. So here what I can do is I can click on browse, and then it will be able to, because linkage service understands your particular folder. So I can try to select this file. So automatically this entire things will be filled up, right? File path is test, and inside test we have a customer order CSV. Now import the schema. So from connection restore, from sample file none. So from connection restore I can try to select, and then I can click on OK. So now data set is completely done for a Azure blob. See, data set is already done, and we are able to create one of the data set basically over here. I can even click on test connection. It is not going to fail. So yeah, connection is successful. That's completely fine. I can even try to check the schema. So what is the schema of the particular data set which is available over there? Everything I can try to check from here. So this is one of the, I would say, a data set we are able to create. Now the second one, this is for a data lake, for a CSV file, raw CSV file, raw data. The another one is I can try to click on new data set, and then I can try to select basically a SQL. So Azure SQL database we are using. So for my sync, so for my source is going to be this blob, basically container, and my sync is going to be basically my SQL database. So here, even for this, I can try to create it. So we have already created a linkage services, Azure SQL database linkage services, right? Now table name. So whatever table, right, that you have created, it will show you automatically. So here DBO orders table we have already created. Now click OK. So it is going to create basically, and I can try to click on test connection. So eventually it will be able to test the complete connection. and connection is successful. So here guys, we have created basically two data set. One is for blob, delimited text, and one is for my SQL. Two data set we are able to create. So first part is we have created a linkage. Now second part is with the help of that linkage, we are able to create a database, right? Data set we are able to create. Now once this is done, right? Once it is done and everything is working well and good, then we can come to the pipeline part, a final step, right? Final step. So where I will be like connecting these two things. So here pipeline is blank as of now. I can try to click on new pipeline, right? So pipeline for template on new folder. So I'll click on new pipeline. So once I'm going to click on new pipeline, so it is going to pop up this kind of a window for me, this particular window. And now here there is a multiple activities which is given to you. So move and transfer, Azure Synapses, right? Azure Data Explorer, Azure Function. So here there are multiple activities which is given to me even for a Databricks, right? So I can try to bring a notebook. I can try to automate a notebook here itself. So instead of using a workflow over there, I can try to even call here and I can try to automate it. Data Lake Analytics, General, right? So SD Insights for Spark, High Map, Reduce, Pick kind of a job or streaming kind of a job. So there are multiple activities which is given to me. Now, what is the activity that I have to perform? So I have to perform technically copy data activity. So I have to copy a data from where to where. So I have to copy a data from a data lake, to the SQL system. So copy data activity which I have to perform. And even I can try to chain the activity. So one activity after another activity after another activity. So I can even chain it. There is no issue at all. So here as of now, copy data. So just drag and drop. So this is my copy data activity. Now to copy data activity, they have given you all of these parameters over here, which you have to configure. So one is a general. No need to do much over here. It's completely fine, right? If you would like to like give a timeout time and then retry, you can try to set it. That's completely fine. But here, so major part is a source and sink. So what is my source? Data lake. What is my sink? SQL. Very simple, right? So what is the file type which is available at source? CSV file. Inside a sink, we have to sync the data into a table that we have created. So I can click on this source and then source data set wise, delimited texts data set we have already created. That's the reason. So we have created a data set. So that's the reason source data set. As you can see, data, it requires data set, right? That is the reason. So we have created a data set as you can see. So what is my data set? Source data set, delimited text one. This is the data set which I have created. And this one is using a linkage. So here delimited text. Okay, fine. So here I can try to even click on preview data just to double check this one, right? So it is able to preview my entire data set. As you can see that this is the data which you have inside this particular file or this data set that you have basically created, right? Filter by last modified. So you can try to even apply the filter and many things you can do. Whatever comes in your mind, whatever is required by building a real-time pipeline, every feature is given to you just on the click itself. So here skip line count if you would like to skip it, additional column if you would like to add at the time of like storing a data, you can try to add it, maybe some sort of a flag. If I would like to add, I can try to add it. That's completely fine. But yeah, let's not talk about that first. Let's talk about the complete process in a first place. So here source is fine. I have mapped my source. I'll click on sync, right? And sync wise, what is my sync? So sync data set wise, Azure SQL table 1. This is the sync that I have created inside the data set. So it is showing over here, right? Otherwise I can create a new one. So it's completely fine, right? It's completely fine. So source and sync both is mapped. Source is my delimited text one, which is available inside my data lake. Sync is basically my SQL system. Okay. Now click on the third tab, which is called as mapping. So mapping wise, you can try to map both because there is a possibility that column name will be different inside my file and column name will be different inside my SQL system. There is a very high chance, right? There is a very high chance that column name will be different. So if it is different, it will not be able to read a data properly. It will not be able to send the data. So maybe I can try to click on import schema so that it will be able to show you schema from both the side. And if there is problem with the mapping, you can try to even change that part, and we do it multiple times, right? We do it. So as you can see that it is showing you schema from a source side and it is showing you schema from the destination side, that in your source file, this is a name and in your destination, this is the name. If there is a mismatch, or maybe if you like to map maybe something with something else, maybe customer ID with the order ID, right? If you would like to map, you can map that as well. Means you can do your own mapping manually for one time. So order ID is mapping with order ID and all those things. So yeah, this looks good, right? This looks good basically. And if there is some changes that I have to do with respect to mapping, I can do that as well. Setting wise, so you don't have to worry about anything, right? Property wise, so as of now, I'm not sending any kind of a property. So all these things looks set to me. My source looks set to me. My sync looks set to me. Now what I can do is, so maybe I can try to test it, right? Maybe I can try to test it. There is something called as debug. There is something called as validate. And then I can call on publish. As of now, this is not in a production. Once I'm going to call publish, so it is going to publish my data set, right? Data set plus it is going to publish my activity, which is nothing but a pipeline, right? Pipeline activity, it is going to publish. But before that, there is something called as trigger and debug. So I can try to even debug it. I can try to maybe like test it. So here I can try to call add trigger, right? And there is two options. One is a trigger now. So you can try to test it, right? Now itself. One is create a trigger, so which will be invoked as per your schedule. So maybe I can try to click on new edit over here, and then I can try to select a trigger. I would like to schedule it. So there is no trigger as of now. I can click on new, and then here, so trigger one, maybe, or maybe I can say that hourly trigger, right? I can give any kind of a name. Now type of schedule. So maybe I can try to schedule, I can try to terminal window, storage event or custom event. So based on the event, I can invoke it. Maybe based on the tumbling window, I can invoke it, maybe as per the schedule. So I can try to select a schedule over here. Now schedule start date is going to be today's date, right? This is showing you the server timing. So maybe I can try to change the server timing. So this is basically like showing you this timing, schedule date, and then time zone. I can try to select if I'm like, because time zone is obviously like an important factor. Now every 15 minutes, I would like to check, or maybe I can say that in every 5 minutes, try to trigger it, right? Every 5 minutes, keep on checking it. So whatever I want, I can just do it. Maybe I can try to select a tumbling window over here. So every 15 minutes or maybe hours or maybe a month, whatever I want, I can try to do it in a easiest possible way, just like we have seen inside the workflow, right? So I can say that okay, so every 5 minutes trigger it, right? Every 5 minutes just try to trigger it, and then start a trigger on connection. I can try to check this part and then click on OK. So this pipeline has a no parameter. Make sure you publish the trigger to activate after clicking OK. So here this trigger will be activated, but as of now I have not published my pipeline. As of now my pipeline is under development, right? So it will be activated once I'm going to publish the pipeline. Otherwise it will not be activated. Okay, click on OK. Fine. So trigger is created, as you can see. So new, and then hourly trigger I have already created. If I would like to change it at some point of a time, I can change that as well. Okay, so close it. Now I have to test it. Now before testing, so we already know that there is no record available here, right? There is no record available inside my SQL table. I have already cross verified. Maybe I can try to go over here. I can try to again cross verify, select star from like a DBO database orders. Fine. So I can try to check over here. So successful, but yeah, there is no result. So my table is as of now blank. Now what I can do is I can try to initiate a trigger now. I would like to test it first, right? Test it, debug it, and then I will try to send it into the production pipeline. So I would like to publish it. So here I can try to click on trigger now. So once I'm going to like click on trigger now, it is telling me that pipeline is not found. Please publish it first. Cancel. But let's suppose before publishing, right? Before publishing, if I have to maybe like perform some sort of operation, so I can try to click on what? I can try to click on debug option. So debug is going to run the activity in a development itself, in a development. So trigger, you will be able to trigger it. That's a difference, right? So debug, you will be able to run it basically in a development, and trigger, you will be able to invoke it, whether it's a scheduled trigger or maybe a trigger now. When? So you will be able to do it. So debug, and yes, so it is showing me succeeded. Now here, so once it is showing you succeeded, so I can try to click over here and then I can try to check the detail. If it is going to fail, so it is going to show you the message and it is going to show you why it has failed. So that's the reason we used to use the debug over here, right? We used to use our debug over here. So I can click over here, and then as you can see, so what activity it has done. So from Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, region is Central India. So where my Data Lake Gen 2 is available, succeeded, and it is able to push a data into my SQL database, which is available inside my East US region. Is it making sense, guys? Yes, everyone? Making sense? So we are able to basically, able to trigger it. And yes, so copy duration, it is telling me time, then data read, file read, number of row which it was able to read. So everything, data written is basically 1.81 KB. So all of these detail it is trying to showcase to me. And I have run these things just into a debug mode, right? I have run these things just into a debug mode. That's it. Okay, fine. So this is tested. This particular pipeline that I have created is tested, right? It is able to copy a data. So I'm able to verify that it is able to copy a data from a data lake storage Gen 2 to my SQL system. Well and good, right? It is able to copy. Now I can maybe go to my SQL system, and then I can try to click on run once again. And now I'm able to see a data even over here, as you can see, right? So now I'm able to see a data even inside my SQL system. So order ID, customer ID, mouse, quantity, order date, everything I'm able to see even in this particular place, as you can see. Yeah. So everything is available even over here. So that's again like amazing. I'm able to push a data. It simply means that my pipeline is working. Now what I want is I want to work this pipeline and keep on doing this task every 5 minutes. Yeah, every 5 minutes it should keep on doing that particular task. I have already created a trigger for this pipeline, right? I have already attached a trigger for this pipeline. So this trigger is going to invoke in every 5 minutes, and then it is going to perform this operation for me. So I have to now automate, I have to make sure that it should be published. So what I can do is I can just try to click on publish all, so that it will go into a production, and automatically, unless and until I'm not going to come over here and maybe do something, so it will keep on checking these things, and it will keep on running for me for a infinite time. Here I can try to specify even the end date, that when I would like to end these things. So if I'm going to specify the end date on this particular date, it is going to end. If I would like to configure this, if I don't want to configure this, if I would like to make sure that this should keep on running automatically all the time, it's fine. Leave it as it is, right? So status started, stop. Okay. So okay, fine. So now what I can do is I can simply click on basically this publish all, and it is going to publish my pipeline. It is going to publish my data set, and it is going to publish my trigger, right? All of these components which I have created, which is my data set, which is my pipeline and my trigger, it is going to publish all of these components, and it will be live now, right? It will be live now. So I'm just trying to publish over here. So publish deployed 4 of 4 resources, publish completed successfully. So now this entire things is my production pipeline. This is called as production over here, right? So the entire things is inside my production pipeline. Now what I can do is I can try to go inside the monitor tab, which I have introduced in a very beginning. So I can go inside the monitor tab, and I will be able to monitor over here. As of now, it is blank. Why it is blank? Because my pipeline has not even executed for one time. In every 5 minutes, it is supposed to execute, right? So my pipeline has not executed even for once as of now, and that is the reason. So it is showing me a complete blank over here. What I can do is maybe I don't want to wait for my maybe 5 minutes. I would like to run it now itself once again. So I can try to click on trigger, and then I can manually go, and then I can try to trigger it. So trigger it manually, and let's see. So I'm hoping that this time it is going to give me the error because of the primary key constraint. So here, now I can come over here inside the monitor, and here it is running the pipeline. See, pipeline 1, it is running, and triggered by manual trigger. If system is going to trigger, so obviously it is going to show you the system wise trigger, but here, so manually I have triggered this part, and let's see. So I'm hoping that it should fail. because my primary constraint. Yeah, I can even click on this pipeline and then I can even try to check. So what is happening inside this pipeline? So I can even track each and everything. Trigger runs, CDC over here, integration runtime. Yeah, pipeline run. It's been 10 seconds. It's queued. So everything you can come over here, and then from here you will be able to monitor, and from here, so you will be able to check the entire activity. As simple as that. So I'm just waiting for my, yeah, run failed. I told you, right? So my pipeline has failed as of now, as you can see, right? If I'm going to click on this pipeline, so basically my pipeline has failed. Now, I would like to know that why my pipeline has failed. Last time it was fine, but yeah, so when I have executed this now, it has failed. If I'm going to click over here, it is going to give me the issue. So why it has failed? So failure happened on sync side. Sync is what? Sync is my SQL, right? Source is what? Source is my data lake. So here SQL operation failed, Microsoft data, this is the database operation failed. Please search error to get more about it. And here, so violation of primary key constraint. So if you remember, my order ID was basically a primary key, right? I'm trying to pass the same data once again. And because I'm trying to pass same data once again, it is failing, right? So primary key, so yeah, it is failing over here. So maybe I can try to check, or I can try to send the new data. It will be fine. But yeah, this time it has failed because data set was already available with a primary key constraint which I have created. So with the same order ID, data is already available, and because of that it is failing. So I can even come over here, I can try to debug it, I can try to validate it, and then I can try to even rectify the things. So maybe I can go over here, and then yeah, I can just like delete this record, and maybe I can try to upload a new record automatically. Uh, yeah, so customer order. Maybe I can try to upload a new record. The only thing is primary key constraint. So maybe I can try to delete. I'm just changing my source file itself. Yeah. So this is the new file where I have just changed my order ID, and maybe I can try to upload that file. And again, so the file which I'm uploading manually, so I have already shown you the pipeline, so how it will be uploaded in general. So I'm uploading the new file, right? And I have already created a trigger. So automatically in 5 minutes, it will keep on checking, and it will be able to send the data. So if I'll come over here, monitor. So the next trigger, which it is going to execute, obviously it will be able to send a data automatically, right? It will be sending the data automatically. Refreshing, it is showing. Automatically, it will be able to read the data. I don't have to do anything. My entire pipeline of the data copy is already inside the production. Anil is saying else remove the data. Yeah, anything is fine. Like primary key is not the big issue, right? We all are aware about it. So this is a pipeline, guys. Are we able to create it? It's not that tough, right? And we are not even writing any kind of a code here. So it's just like a drag and drop and configuration, more like configuration. We will be involving a code as well. Yes, how many of you are able to do it, guys? How many of you are able to successfully create a pipeline and your pipeline is able to send a data from a data lake to the SQL system? How many of you are able to do it? So I can try to set maybe alerts and rules as well, right? So configure, I can try to configure the notification over here as and when I want. So there are so many options which is already given, just like a workflow. So anyone guys who is able to trigger this entire part? Yes, anyone? Okay, looks like no one. I stuck at data set part, Sitaram is saying. So what is your issue that you are facing, Sitaram? Tell me, I'll try to resolve it. So data set is nothing but once you are able to, if you are able to create a linkage successfully, then data set will not give you issue. If your linkage is failing, then obviously data set will give you an issue. So first linkage, second data set, third pipeline, fourth trigger and send it to production. Yeah. So see, guys, here. So at one time, so I have done the manual trigger. It was failed, right? Because of the constraint, primary key constraint, and then again for the same reason, hourly trigger, which is the trigger automated trigger which I have created, again it has failed, right? Because of the same constraint, it has failed. That's completely fine, right? But again, after 5 minutes, so when system has invoked that entire pipeline, see, succeeded. Now, if I'll go and check, so the database, if I'll go and check, so here you will be able to find out that even my new record, so 1056, which was not available, 5758, 106. So all of these records are now available inside my system. So as you can see that beautifully, it is able to trigger these things automatically and it will keep on running. It will keep on running, right? It will keep on running. It succeed or fail, it will keep on running. Yep. It will keep on running this entire operations automatically. So now my entire ETL, I can say, or maybe like my E and L, I would say, not transformation. I'm not doing any transformation as of now. But yeah, my entire E and L is inside the production. So my extract and my load is inside the production. I'm able to map with my source and sink. Is it making sense to all of us, guys? Yes. Can we say that we are able to create a small like a process over here and end-to-end production? Yes. In dataset, you have selected the file. Yeah, Masood. So basically, when I was trying to create a dataset, let me show you once again. So basically, let's suppose if I'm trying to create a new dataset, right over here, I'll go create a new dataset. So first of all, I'll try to select basically a data lake. So data lake Gen 2 is the first dataset. Now here inside that, it will give me the option that inside the data lake Gen 2, what is the file that I had. So if I'm keeping Avro, binary, JSON, Excel, I can select a file accordingly. But in here, we are specifying the file name as a source. It is possible to map any cave file. What is that? Cave file in the directory. So basically, they are giving you option for this 9 kind of a file. So you have to like convert it in this format if you are reading from a data lake. If file is not available in that required format, so maybe you can try to write the transformation process, a small process by which it will be able to transform. As simple as that. Okay. Yeah. So if you have CSV, is like they have already given you the connector. So like a data lake, inside that they have already given you for CSV delimited file. So select this one, continue this one, select the linkage that you have created. So by default, it will be able to pop up your linkage. If you have created a linkage, if not, then obviously it will not show you the linkage over here. Okay, so this part is done. Now there is a task for you. So the task is complete this entire pipeline. So try to create a process number 1, try to create a process number 2, and then just connect with the Power BI. So I would like to see a screenshot of a Power BI dashboard with any data that you want. So what you have to do is you have to create a UI. I think we all know how to create a UI. So maybe with the help of Python Streamlit, try to create the UI. I have already done that even to pass my data. Right? I believe I have done that for the e-commerce data. So maybe you can try to just use any data. So I'm least worried about the data. I'm most worried about the process basically. So try to create a UI. Now let me like define this entire process once again, right, as a task for all of you. So here, what I want you to do is that let me write it down inside the Scribble link. That will be better. Yeah. So what I want you to do is, so just try to create a UI over here, and from UI, so you will be populating a data. You will keep on populating a data, right? And then this will send a data to the Kafka. Then from here, so you are going to read a data into Azure Data Bricks, Azure DB. So Databricks, it's basically Databricks. Databricks, you will keep on reading a data from Azure Databricks. Then Azure Databricks will process the data. So you can write maybe a Spark transformation over here, or maybe some sort of a EDA operation over here. And then you are going to store a data into maybe a .csv or maybe a XLS format into a blob data lake Gen 2, and then in a particular directory, and then there will be a ADF pipeline, Azure Data Factory pipeline, which will try to read this data, and then finally it will be able to dump those data into a SQL system, and then SQL system will be connected with the Power BI. So this is a task, guys, which I am giving to you. So please make sure that you are going to complete this task before tomorrow's class, right? Or even maybe now. So I can maybe take a snapshot and then send it inside the big data WhatsApp group. So I have already sent this entire task inside the big data group. So please make sure that you are going to complete this particular task and sending me the screenshot of the process number 1 and process number last. Right. If I'm able to see your data into a Power BI, and if you're able to see some sort of a screenshot with respect to a Kafka processing a data with respect to UI, I will be more than happy for that. Yeah. So in this way, you will be able to create a little bit bigger process. And again, so we are going to use not just one single process: UI, Kafka, Azure Databricks, Blob, ADF, SQL, and Power BI all together. Yes. So how many of you are up, guys? How many of you are going to send me this one by today night itself, or maybe next 1-2 hours? I think max to max, if I'll talk about this entire process, as per me, it should not take more than half an hour of time, 30 minutes of time, more than 30 minutes of time, because we have already done everything, right? So we have a piece of a code available somewhere with us, and we all know the process. Obviously, maybe in a debugging 5 to 10 minutes more I can try to spend, but yeah. So I don't think that it should take more than 30 minutes of time, but still I'm giving you a time till maybe tomorrow. So how many of you are up, and how many of you are going to send it to me? I think in a life we all should take some sort of a challenge. Yep. No one? I mean, like, is it that boring? Maybe you are not able to understand, or maybe you are not able to do it at all. Abigail saying P1, process 1. Yeah, so connect a processor with process 2. The complete process, the complete connection I'm looking for. So we have already done process number 1. Now we have done the process number 2. So just connect everything and then send it to me. I have little but doubt like for a connection Kafka to ADF. No, I'm not asking you to connect Kafka to ADF basically. So what I'm asking you is if you will check the screenshot which I have sent it to you. So from source side of the Kafka, from producer side of the Kafka, there will be an UI, and on a consumer side, there will be a Databricks. So just check the diagram. So have I ever mentioned that we are connecting Kafka to a ADF? No, right? I'm not connecting Kafka to ADF. Kafka will be connected to a Azure Databricks. Databricks is reading the data. Then Databricks is trying to store the data into a Azure Data Lake, or in a form of blob in Gen 2, right? So Azure Data Lake, technically Azure Data Lake, and from there ADF is trying to invoke the data. Tutu is saying I'll do it, but not sure I'll meet up with the time frame. Like I said, it should not take more than 30 minutes of time if you have attended all the previous classes and if you have already done the task which I have given to you. But yeah, maybe you can take your time and then let me know. As of now, I have not asked you to, Sidaram, connect your Kafka with the ADF. No. Fine. So I have already pinged you the diagram inside your chat group. So please follow that part, and yeah, so try to do the things, try to do the task. Plus, guys, just make sure that you have a AWS account. So keep it ready, AWS account, right? So that I will be able to even show you some processes while there will be some service inside AWS account, and we can even try to call it from a Azure, like a maybe data factory, maybe from Azure Synapses, or maybe from some other places as well, right? I'll be able to show you those kind of operations as well. So I will be saying tomorrow evening I'll send it. Okay, that's great, great. Send it inside the like a group itself, so we all will cheer up and then we all will enjoy. Masood is saying we'll finish it. Yeah, just do the task. Believe me, every task which I'm giving you, after doing it successfully, you will feel like I know a lot of things, right? This is the kind of feeling that you will be able to get. Please, what is Kafka Flink? Will you still talk about it? Maybe I can talk about it. Kafka Flink is already available inside your Kafka Confluent Kafka account that you have used, right? So Flink is nothing but just another wrapper, just like a Spark. So where with the help of Flink, you will be able to read the data from a Kafka. You will be able to even query, just like a SQL query. Plus, you will be able to process the data, a real-time data, right? And Flink service is already available. If you will go and check your topic, you will be able to find out that Flink service is already available inside a Confluent Kafka account that you have already created, and both are connected and interrelated. See, teaching wise, I can do teaching of a lot of topics, and again, big data wise, these are the topic is fine. But apart from that, there are tons of other topic which also exist, which I can teach. But the thing is, if my students are not able to do a task, then and if they're not willing to do the task, then maybe I'll try to create a recording videos and then I'll try to upload it. Yeah. Okay, so fine, guys. I'm done for today. Tomorrow, so please make sure that you have an AWS account. We'll try to show you some sort of a connectivity between AWS Azure, so that some services will be available inside the Azure, some will be available inside the AWS. We can try to like connect, and then we will be able to establish some sort of a communication between different kind of a cloud storage account as well. Plus, please try to complete this particular task which I have given to you. So with that, thank you so much, everyone. See you again in my tomorrow's class, same time, 2:15 p.m. IST. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. We are doing it. Okay, don't worry. I'll keep on teaching you. new topics. Yep. Maybe in live, maybe in recorded, but yes, I will. Because even I wanted to discuss hundreds of other topics as well. But again, everything comes towards like an interest. If in live class people are not taking interest, obviously I'll teach. I'm not saying that I'll not teach, but yeah, what I will do is I'll create a recording. I'll just try to utilize the same time. I'll try to create a recording so that it will be available for a bigger audience for a very, very long time. Yep. So with that, guys, thank you so much. Tomorrow, same time, let's have a class. Till then, take care. Have a great weekend, Saturday. Yeah, to all of you. Thank you so much.